right, let's identify our pieces. So we have 2 pieces, and our pieces have a notch at the top. We have a 1-inch notch there and a 1-inch notch here. And then we have double notches. That's where the bottom of the zipper is gonna be. This is the same thing, the mirror image. So we have our top notch, we have our bottom notch, that's the 1-inch, and then we have our double notches. And that is going to be our center back. So let's overlock both of those seams to prepare to insert the zipper. So now we're gonna overlock that center back seam right here. I'm just gonna flip it over. Remember, you only want little shavings. You don't want to cut the actual piece of fabric. So as you're overlocking, keep your eye at the edge where your blade is. Now remember, we need to keep sewing. Remember, we need to keep sewing. Now remember, we need to keep stepping on the presser foot until our chain stitch crosses our throat plate. So I have now overlocked that one seam. Notches here for the 1-inch here, and then our double notches there. So I've overlocked one side. Now the mirror image of it. Let's do the other side. So now that you've done both of the seams, you are ready to sew. So we're gonna sew and put right sides together. So this is right sides together. And we will be sewing from our double notches down. We're gonna back stitch at the beginning, we're gonna back stitch at the end. This part here is gonna be basting. So basting and sewing are 2 different things. The sewing from here down is a regular stitch length to connect 2 pieces. So we're using a 2.5 on your stitch length selector. So 2.5 stitch length. And then above this double notch, we're gonna use number 5, which is a based stitch. So let's head to the machine and do that. Okay, let's baste. So we have our notch there. No back stitch because the base is only temporary. Sink your needle, you're going straight down. So this is our base. Once I get to the top of my double notches, I'm going to change my stitch length. This is that 1-inch notch. That seam allowance is 1 inch. Now I've made it to the top of my double notches. Yep, there it is right there. Now I'm gonna turn my stitch length back to a regular connecting stitch, and that's about 2.5. And I'm gonna back stitch. 2 stitches forward, 2 stitches back. Now I'm gonna finish sewing. This is that regular stitch length now from the top of the double notch down. And then back stitch at the end. Okay, so we have 2 different types of seams happening here. The upper portion, so that is above those double notches, is a baste. It's only a temporary stitch. It's holding it in place temporarily. And then down underneath that double notch, so from that double notch down, we have a regular connecting stitch. We back stitched here at the top notch, and we back stitch at the bottom. Now it's time to press it open. All right, so let's press it open. And again, I like to do both sides because you want to just make sure everything is nice and smooth. Sewing is very cumulative, so everything you do in step 1 will show up in step 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So now we have pressed our seam open, and you can see the double notches down here. That's gonna stay. This base, later on, we're gonna take it out. All right, so now that we pressed it open, we're gonna take our zipper. So your zipper has zipper teeth in the middle. It has a zipper pull that you actually use to open and close the zipper. And your zipper also has zipper tape that's on the left side and the right side. So the zipper pull that we use to close and open the zipper has to go facing the garment. So your zipper teeth, once again, are in the middle. Those are your zipper teeth. That's what keeps it closed. That's the zipper pull. These left and right sides have zipper tape. So we're going to close the zipper, turn it so the zipper pull faces the right side of your seam. So notice this is the wrong side of the fabric, but the right side of the seam. And then you want to line up the zipper teeth right down the center. So the center of that seam. And the very top of your zipper tape lines up at the very top of the piece. And now we are going to pin. We want to make sure those zipper teeth stay right in the middle, exactly on the seam. And we are going to add some pins. Remember, you pin horizontally if you're sewing vertically. So always pin opposite of how you are sewing. Okay, so we know we're lining this up so that the teeth are at the seam. We're going to flip it over and we're going to pin. You just want to keep checking because it's going to be sewn here, over, and up. So you just want to keep checking to be sure as you're pinning that the zipper teeth stay at the center, and you want your seam to be very straight. So here, zipper teeth, center of my seam, and I'll pin. So just keep checking back and forth. You're pinning through the zipper tape. So if I flip this over, I have 2 pins already, but you want to do it on this side, the right side of the fabric, so that you can see. If you do it on the back side, you're in the blind, and sometimes your stitches won't come out straight. But this way, if you sew it from here, you can see, and you'll be sure to get it nice and straight. So notice I'm just rolling the piece of fabric up, and I'm checking to make sure that the teeth of the zipper in the middle are right on the seam. Then I roll it back down and hold it in place with my finger, add a pin. And the pins are all going through the zipper tape. We're gonna sew down here, we're gonna turn and go back up the other side. So your seam will look like railroad tracks. That's why they call this the railroad zipper. Here's another pin. Once again, you're pinning from the right side of the fabric. The zipper stop is this metal piece right here at the bottom of your zipper. We're gonna sew underneath that by 1/2 inch. So the zipper stop is there. So that's my stop right there. And my pin goes 1/2 inch under. You're also gonna take those pins out. So this is where I'm gonna make that pivot turn and go over to the opposite side and go back up. So now I'm just gonna flip this around and do the other side. I'm just checking once again to make sure the zipper tape stays exactly put where I want it and that the teeth of my zipper are at the center of my seam. All right, so, and you can feel through and feel the seam and feel the zipper teeth touching the seam. So here's more pins. There we go. So you can see the pins through the zipper tape there. And once you have it in place, you're gonna sew. The look of your sewing is really important. It has to be perfectly straight, railroad tracks. So this is the railroad zipper. So we wanna be sure we go straight down, and then over, and then straight up, and that they are parallel, exactly even from the seam. All right, let's go to the machine and sew it.